Here's what Sophia Bennett definitely did not expect to see at 7 in the morning. A barefoot guy with a guitar sleeping on a bench across from the main entrance of their flagship hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Technically, it wasn't their bench, but when your father owns 15 hotels nationwide, you start looking at a block radius around each one as an extended territory of the family business. Sophia stopped, squeezing her morning cappuccino so hard the plastic lid nearly popped off. She just returned from London after opening a new hotel, and the last thing she needed was another reputational issue, as her father called it. The barefoot musician stirred, opened one eye, and smiled at her as if they were old friends. "Good morning, sunshine." His voice was too cheerful for someone who'd just woken up on a metal bench. "Great day for judging strangers, isn't it?" Sophia blinked. "Excuse me? Your face?" He sat up, running a hand through his dark, disheveled hair. "It says, how do I call the police without looking like a privileged millionaire's daughter?" She opened her mouth, then closed it, opened it again. "I'm not He stretched, and his worn denim jacket rode up, exposing a strip of tan skin. "I'm Ethan, by the way. I play here every night." "Well, played until your hotel security decided I was ruining the visual aesthetic last night." Ruining the visual. Sophia stopped, finally connecting the dots. "Wait, are you the guitarist the manager called my father about at 9 last night?" Ethan put a hand over his heart. "Guilty. Although, between you and me, your manager is tone deaf. He called my version of Hallelujah beggar noise. Leonard Cohen would be rolling over in his grave." Against her better judgment, Sophia felt the corners of her mouth twitch into a smile. She quickly hid it. "The sidewalk across from our entrance is not a concert venue. Technically, it's a public sidewalk. I checked." Ethan stood up, grabbing his guitar. He was taller than he looked while lying down and irritatingly attractive for someone sleeping on the street. "But hey, I get it. Can't have your $500 a night guests seeing actual real life while they check in." This isn't about Sophia's side. It was too early for this. "Look, I'm sure you're talented. You haven't even heard me play, but we have certain standards." "Standards?" Ethan repeated as if savoring the word. "You know what's interesting? I've been playing near this hotel for 3 months. I earn more here than at any other spot in the city. Want to know why?" Sophia didn't want to, but he continued anyway. "Because your guests want to feel special, and what's more special than tossing a 20 to a street musician on their way into a luxury hotel? It gives them a sense of nobility without any real effort." He took a step closer, and Sophia smelled coffee and something woody, maybe from the guitar. "I'm part of your atmosphere whether you like it or not." "That is the most arrogant thing I've heard since Monday," Sophia said, though something in his words snagged in her mind. "Today's Wednesday, even worse." Ethan laughed low and warm. "Okay, here's the deal. Give me one shot, one performance tonight at 6. If I can't prove I'm improving your business, I'll leave for good." Sophia knew she should say no. That her father would kill her if he knew she was negotiating with a street musician like a business partner. But there was something in the way Ethan looked at her, not with pleading or annoyance, but with genuine curiosity, as if she were a puzzle he wanted to solve. "One performance," she heard her own voice say. 2 hours maximum, and if anyone complains, you personally call the police and watch me get arrested." Ethan extended his hand. "Deal?" His palm was warm and calloused when she shook it. "Deal." Sophia let go of his hand quicker than necessary, and put on some shoes. This city is full of glass and people with questionable hygiene. "Worrying about me already." Ethan's smile was unbearable. "We haven't even had our first date yet. This isn't we are not." But he was already walking away, waving over his shoulder, the guitar slung across his back. Sophia stood in the middle of the sidewalk, watching him disappear around the corner, her coffee already cold. Somewhere in her pocket, her phone buzzed. Her assistant surely with a list of morning meetings. Instead of answering, she looked at the spot where Ethan had vanished and thought that maybe, just maybe, she just made the stupidest or the most interesting deal of her life. At 6 o'clock, she would find out which one. At 6 o'clock, Sophia was sitting in her 12th floor office trying to focus on quarterly reports. Instead, She was checking the security cameras near the entrance every 3 minutes. Pathetic. Absolutely. Was she going to stop? No. He's here, said Mia, her assistant, walking in without knocking as usual. And Sophia, he brought friends. What? Sophia jumped up so fast she knocked over her pen cup. Down on the monitor screen, Ethan was setting up a small amplifier. Next to him stood a skinny guy with a stand-up bass and a girl with a violin. He said, "It's an acoustic trio." Mia was barely suppressing a smile. "Do you want me to call security?" "No." Sophia grabbed her blazer. "I'll handle it." As she stormed through the revolving doors, Ethan was just testing the microphone. He traded his ripped jeans for black pants and thank God put on shoes. His white shirt was rolled up, sleeves cuffed. He looked presentable. More than presentable. "You said one performance," Sophia hissed, walking up to him. "You didn't mention a band." "I said I—" Ethan winked at her, didn't specify whether I'd come alone. "Loophole, darling. We didn't sign a contract. And don't call me darling." Another loophole. He turned back to the mic, leaned in closer and said, "Test, test. Good evening, New York." A few passers-by stopped. A couple of guests leaving the hotel paused on the steps. Ethan nodded to his musicians and they began to play. It wasn't what Sophia expected. Not Wonderwall or some tourist-friendly pop tune. It was a jazz composition, slow, sensual, the kind that made the air around them feel thicker. When Ethan started to sing, his voice was low and velvety. She walks in tailored armor built to last. Her world of marble lobbies, chrome and glass. But when she stops to listen just one beat, I see the girl behind the balance sheet. Sophia froze. He was singing about her. This audacious, arrogant. "He's good," she heard someone say nearby. An elderly woman in an expensive coat was nodding to the rhythm. "Very good." Another couple stopped, then another. Within 5 minutes, a small crowd had gathered in front of the hotel entrance. Greg, the general manager, exited the building. His face read, "Miss Bennett, your father, let him finish the song." Sophia didn't take her eyes off Ethan. He looked directly at her as he sang the final verse. Two different worlds, one city street where her Louis Vuitton and my bare feet could find a rhythm, find a rhyme, if she'd just give me a little time. The last note lingered in the air. A second of silence, then applause. Not just polite applause, genuine, enthusiastic cheers. Sophia watched as a guest from the lobby pulled out his phone and tossed a 20 into the open guitar case. Then another $50, $100. "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen." Ethan's voice was warm. "The next song is dedicated to everyone who ever fell in love with someone from a different world and thought, no chance. This one's for you and for her." He looked at Sophia again. "It's manipulation," she muttered to Mia, who was now standing next to her. "It's romantic," Mia replied, filming the scene on her phone. For the next 2 hours, Sophia watched. She watched Ethan play everything from old jazz standards to modern indie. She watched hotel guests stop, smile, and take photos with him. She watched his case fill up with money, and she watched how he occasionally glanced at her as if checking if she was still there. When he finally finished, the crowd dispersed reluctantly. Ethan walked up to her, handing money to his musicians. "Well," he looked overly confident. "Am I ruining the visual aesthetic?" Sophia crossed her arms. "You know, you're not. So, I can stay?" She should have said no. She should have explained corporate policy, brand image, and the hell her father would raise when he found out. Instead, she heard herself asking, "That song about the girl in the tailored armor, did you really write it today?" Ethan's smile softened. "Wrote it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't sleep after our meeting. It's still manipulation. It's the truth." He took a step closer. "Sometimes they're the same thing." Sophia's phone rang. Her father, of course. "I have to go." She stepped back. "You can play here, but there are rules. There are always rules in your world, aren't there? They keep things orderly or just safe." He said it without judgment, but something in the words struck her. "See you tomorrow, Ethan." She turned toward the hotel. "Is that a date?" he called after her. It's a business arrangement, she retorted. That's how the best love stories start, he yelled back. Sophia didn't turn around, but she smiled as she entered the doors. Behind her, she heard Ethan start playing again, something light and cheerful that made her step a little faster, her heart a little lighter. Her father could wait another 5 minutes. William Bennett flew into New York 2 days later. Sophia learned about it from a message from his secretary. Your father expects you in the penthouse at 2:00 p.m. Dress code. Formal, mood, serious. Great. She knew what the conversation would be about. Greg, who never missed an opportunity to stab her in the back, had surely already reported the musician incident, and the internet did the rest. The video of Ethan's performance had gathered 1.5 million views on TikTok under the hashtag Street Musician Love Story. Sophia, her father, didn't stand up when she entered. He was sitting at a massive oak desk, his suit impeccable as always. Sit down. She sat, keeping her back straight. Care to explain why our flagship hotel has become the backdrop for a viral video featuring a street musician? Sophia pulled out a tablet with data. It increased brand recognition by 30% in 2 days. Bookings are up 23%. We have increase from 3 travel bloggers who want to do a review. William frowned. That doesn't answer my question. You asked for a business decision. I gave you a business answer. His eyes narrowed, the same look she remembered from childhood when she tried to circumvent his rules. This boy, Ethan Harper, William glanced at his papers. No fixed address, no stable income, no music college education. Sophia, he's not right for you. We're not dating, she said quickly. Too quickly. But you want to? It wasn't a question. Sophia sighed. Dad, I'm not being a snob. William pushed the papers away. I'm worried. This business, this life, it eats people up. I saw it eat your mother. I don't want it to eat you, too. Something in his voice, a rare vulnerability, stopped her sharp reply. Mom didn't leave because of the business, Sophia said softly. She left because you were never home. William turned away, looking out the window at Manhattan, spread out below them. I was building an empire. You were building walls. The silence stretched. Then William turned back to her and his face was tired. What do you want from me, Sophia? Trust. She leaned forward. Give me 3 months. If Ethan improves the business, if the guests love him, allow him to stay officially. We can make it part of our brand, the authentic New York experience right outside the door. And if it becomes more than business, Sophia looked her father in the eye. Then that's my choice, not yours. William stared at her for a long time. Then, for the first time in years, he smiled. Not his business smile, but a genuine one. 3 months, he nodded. But he signs a contract. Official schedule, dress code, everything. And if he does anything that damages our reputation, I'll personally kick him out. Sophia stood up, suddenly energized. Good. Now go tell your musician he's got a job. William returned to his papers, but the corners of his mouth were still smiling. And Sophia, bring him to family dinner on Sunday. I want to see if he's as charming as he is in the video. Sophia practically ran to the elevator. Ethan was playing when she found him at 6:00 in their usual spot. A small crowd was listening to his acoustic version of Come Away With Me. He saw her and finished the song early, standing up. Hey, everything okay? You look. Do you want an official job? Sophia exhaled. Contract, salary, the whole deal. Ethan's face changed from surprise to joy to something more cautious. Is this a Bennett offer? It's my offer approved by my father, more or less. She held out a folder. Take a look. It's a fair deal. Ethan took the folder but didn't open it. What if I say no? Sophia froze. What if I say I don't want a contract, a schedule, a dress code? He placed the folder on his guitar case. If I say the reason I'm playing here anymore has nothing to do with money. Her heart was pounding so loudly she was sure he could hear it. Then why are you here? She whispered. Ethan took a step closer, his hand gently touching her cheek. Because somewhere between your first judgmental glance and your attempt not to smile at my jokes, I realized something terrifying. His voice was quiet, intimate. I fell for the girl who thinks the world should run on rules, but secretly dreams of breaking them. That is the most arrogant thing I've heard, Sophia said, but her voice was trembling. Since Monday? Ever? Ethan laughed, and the sound enveloped her like a warm blanket. So, will you sign the contract? He leaned in, his forehead touching hers. On one condition, which is you go on a date with me, a real one. No negotiations, no business plans, just you, me, and the worst pizza in Brooklyn that I know. Sophia felt a smile spread across her face. A genuine, uncontrollable smile she hadn't felt in years. The worst pizza. You're used to the best. Time to see how the other half lives. Ethan's eyes were shining. The still manipulation. The still the truth. And when he kissed her right there on the sidewalk, in front of the hotel, in front of the passers-by, in front of the cameras that were probably filming, Sophia realized something important. Maybe the best stories aren't about two perfect worlds connecting. Maybe they're about two imperfect worlds deciding that together they'll create something new. Something like a melody played between the floors of a hotel and the street crowd. Something like love. Sunday, she said when they finally broke apart. Family dinner. Wear something nice. I have one shirt without holes. Ethan smiled. Will that work? It will either be the best or the worst decision I've ever made. Hoping for the best, but ready for the worst. Sophia picked up his contract. So, will you sign? Ethan took the pen, signed the document with one stroke, then tossed the folder aside and kissed her again. Somewhere behind them, someone applauded. Then another. The small crowd that had gathered around them was laughing and cheering. Ethan picked up his guitar, winked at Sophia, and started to play. Something cheerful, something light, something that sounded like a beginning. And Sophia, for the first time in her life, just listened to the music and didn't think about the consequences. At least not until Sunday.